Devotion is a psychological horror produced by Red Candle Games in 2019 that is somewhat infamous for being banned due to a certain piece of artwork found later on in the title. With this banning came removal from Steam days after release and the unfortunate failure to launch on GOG in 2020, though it is now available directly from the developer themselves for those seeking to try out this rather interesting title seeped in East Asian lore and the aesthetic of 1980s Taiwan, albeit with a horror twist. In Devotion, you take a journey anchored in a simple family home through a mix of memories, allegories, and even nightmares that weaves back and forth amongst their trials and sacrifices through the eyes of a father who is watching his daughter struggle with a mysterious illness and will turn to whatever means necessary to help her. As you can likely tell, Devotion is not your run-of-the-mill jump scare or gore horror type video game of the genre, but rather an experience of slow-burning dread and pain spread across an emotionally driven story rather than strictly fear-induced scenery, with a heavy dose of liminal spaces that can sometimes feel peaceful and other times scratch at the back of your mind like that invisible crawling sensation of a non-existent spider at the base of your skull. Devotion does this job well and ties it all together with the use of symbolism that intentionally dives into the uncanny valley early and then delves deep into the terrors you might expect later. The core gameplay loop of Devotion is not one of running in fear or being chased through dark alleys, but rather one of methodically putting the puzzle pieces together, exploring the lives that lead to this point and the horrors and twisted realities that eat through the characters in question. You will find yourself solving puzzles far more than wondering what lurks around the corner because of this, though there are plenty of surprises that will show their ugly heads at just the right time. Aesthetically speaking, as we've mentioned, the game captures that uncanny and uneasy feeling perfectly with both its visual and audio design. It's not afraid to draw the player in to engage them with the stories of the main characters, and it's also not afraid to cause them to flinch in discomfort as they confront a number of darker and disturbing scenes. Devotion also has an interesting tendency to take what you've learned as the familiar and twist it in a manner that makes you question what you may have seen before, and it does this exceptionally well. With all the praise I've dropped on this game, it does come with two caveats. One is technical and one is psychological. On the psychological end, if you are sensitive to certain emotional or dark issues, you might find certain things here will reach into these realms and cause you to experience certain harsh emotions that may not be what you necessarily want from a game, but they are necessary for telling the story, so consider that a warning to the faint of heart. As far as the technical issue, while mostly a personal thing for me, this game does not have an adjustable field of view slider, which is a major point for me, as due to how the game is designed, it means I can only enjoy it for bursts of 30 to 45 minutes without having nauseating motion sickness issues for the rest of the day. If you are not prone to these, this will not be a problem, but for many of you, the narrow field of view can definitely be an issue to overcome. Overall, outside of these two notes, this game certainly lives up to the hype surrounding it as an interesting and engrossing take on the psychological horror genre in video games. It's priced quite well at $17, which is a great deal for the experience it presents for those who love this genre. And while it may lack in a lot of terms of broad appeal, I would recommend this for people looking for a more evocative video game experience as opposed to the more emotionally flat tendency many titles tend to favor these days.